Fresh off a doubleheader split with the Braves on Monday, the Amazins will open a three-game set with the Tigers in the Motor City on Tuesday. Let's talk some Mets baseball with Danny Abriano, senior editorial producer at SNY, joins me now. Danny, how's it going?
It's great. How are you doing?
I am doing well, a little bit better than the Mets. And Danny, you know they're not doing so well lately. They won for just the second time in the last 8 games with the nightcap victory over Atlanta on Monday. How big was that victory for New York as they head into this series with the 10-17 Detroit Tigers?
I mean, it's as big as an early season win can be, especially coming against the Braves after those first 2 games. I think it's their biggest win of the season so far. And you look at their record, 16-13 is really nothing to write home about, especially for a team with the expectations the Mets have. But they've dealt with so much stuff, injury-wise, schedule-wise, tons of road games, weather issues early on. And I think they're really setting up to go on a roll here. So being above water now is really big for them.
Yeah, definitely being above water is absolutely huge for them. Now, when you talk about this series with the Tigers, 2 former Tigers starting pitchers will return to the mound for the Mets in Detroit this week. Max Scherzer is back on the hill on Wednesday, and Justin Verlander will make his season debut on Thursday. What should Mets fans expect to see from their co-aces this week in the Motor City?
I think they should expect them to pitch like aces. I mean, Scherzer wasn't his usual dominant self before his highly questionable suspension, but his velocity was right around where it was at this point last year. So I don't think there's much concern with Scherzer. As far as Verlander, he's been raring to go for a while. He's coming back a little bit later than initially hoped, but Jacob deGrom missed 4 months last year. So the Mets are already in a better spot than they were last year, and I think Verlander is going to be a beast from day one here.
All right, need Verlander and Scherzer back atop that rotation. Good to see both those guys back this week. Now, the Tigers, they've not looked like a good ball club early on in a weak AL Central division. The Amazins' next 13 games come against teams all with losing records. So how important is it for the Mets to take care of business in this series with the Tigers?
I think it's big, especially being only 3 games over 500 right now. When we saw what happened last week with the Mets against the Nats, these things don't always work out well. Buck Showalter mentioned it yesterday when he was asked if the Mets should kind of just clean up during the schedule. They should. It's just about performing, and I think they will. The Tigers are very, very bad. They scored the fewest runs of any team in baseball. Pitching is not much better, so the Mets really have it set up well for them right now.
Yeah, and as you said, it's set up well for them, but it all comes down to can you execute and actually get those wins. That's why they play the games, and we will see what happens. As I said, the Mets open a 3-game set with the Tigers in Detroit tonight. Danny, thank you for your time. Great coverage on the Mets as always, and we'll talk some more Mets baseball soon.
Thanks for having me.